Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight here on Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you the day's top stories from India and across the world. Of course, our focus continues on Kashmir. The situation still tense there. Here are the headlines. 800 additional troops are sent to Jammu and Kashmir as curfew remains in force in the valley for the third day. Home Minister Rajnath Singh reviews the situation. India and Kenya signed 7 agreements on the final leg of the Prime Minister's 4-nation Africa tour. India also announces extension of line of credit to Kenya. Rains wreak havoc across the country. At least 20 people are killed in the past 24 hours. Property worth lakhs is damaged. Theresa May is set to be the next Prime Minister of Britain after Andrea Leadsom pulls out of the contest to become the Conservative Party leader. And North Korea threatens physical response against the deployment of anti-missile system by the US and South Korea. China, too, opposes the move. First, our focus on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Kenya tour. In fact, he is addressing businessmen there at the moment in Nairobi. Let's cut across and listen to him.
Various global indicators. We have jumped 12 marks, 12 ranks in the latest global ranking on the ease of doing business by the World Bank. India has also jumped 16 places on the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Index. Friends, India has changed a lot in last 2 years. We are now the most preferred destination for foreign direct investment. In the year 2015, we have received highest ever foreign direct investment. And for you, the good news is that India is the largest trading partner of Kenya.
Well, earlier on Monday, the Prime Minister held wide-ranging talks with Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta and agreed to bolster defense and security ties with the African country. India and Kenya also signed 7 agreements in different sectors. The Prime Minister, in fact, will fly home later tonight.
India and Kenya have signed 7 agreements to deepen cooperation in a wide range of areas. Prominent among these are MOUs in the field of defense and security and avoidance of double taxation.
The MOU on defense cooperation signed just now would strengthen our institutional cooperation between our defense establishments. This will include greater staff exchanges, sharing of expertise and experiences, training and institution building, cooperation in hydrography and supply of equipment.
On the final leg of his 4-nation Africa tour, Prime Minister Modi also announced extension of concessional line of credit of $44.95 million to the African nation to help it in development of small and medium enterprises and textiles. In addition, India will also build a cancer hospital in Kenya to provide quality and affordable healthcare.
I understand that healthcare is President Uhuru's key priority. India can join hands with your priorities to shape an affordable and efficient healthcare system in Kenya. This would not only meet the needs of your society, it could also help Kenya become a regional medical hub.
Earlier, the Prime Minister handed over 30 field ambulances and a model of Bhatro to Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. Bhatro is a state-of-the-art nuclear medicine cancer therapy machine developed and manufactured in India. The Kenyan President expressed gratitude for India's assistance and assured Prime Minister Modi that he would personally follow up on the implementation of the decisions taken.
I look forward to the completion of such an institution which would bring quality and affordable cancer treatment much closer to our citizens, and this is a much needed facility here in Kenya, and for this Prime Minister we are truly grateful. Thank you very much.
Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Modi paid tribute to Kenya's first President Jomo Kenyatta at his mausoleum in Nairobi. This was the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Kenya in more than 3 decades. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now to our focus on the Kashmir Valley. Curfew remained in force for the third consecutive day on Monday in the aftermath of the violence sparked by the death of Burhan Wani, a commander of the Hizbul Mujahideen. The violent protests have left so far 23 people dead and over 250 injured. However, the Amarnath Yatra, which had been suspended for over 2 days, has resumed from the Jammu base camp.
Life in Kashmir continues to remain paralyzed following heightened tensions over the killing of top Hizbul commander Burhan Wani last week. While curfew continues in Tral, Pulwama, Anantnag and 7 police station areas of Srinagar, mobile internet services have been suspended. There were sporadic clashes in parts of Srinagar and North and South Kashmir on Monday. A police station in Sopore was torched by a mob, while the Air Force airport in Pulwama and other security installations in Kashmir also came under attack.
आज 3 दिन का हम बहुत लोग परेशान हैं। ये गवर्नमेंट की चाल है, कर्फ्यू लगाओ और मारपीट करता है और मारता है। ये उनको थोड़ा सब्र करना है। अगर कोई किसी को बेटा मर जाएंगे वो क्या देखेंगे, मगर कम से कम इनको हिरासा करना है। ये पत्थर वत्थर मारता है मगर इनको ये गोली चलाता है।
800 additional central paramilitary forces have been rushed to Jammu and Kashmir. The reinforcements are in addition to 1,200 personnel which were sent by the centre on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Home Minister held a review meeting on Monday and even reached out to opposition leaders, including Congress Chief Sonia Gandhi and former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, and discussed the prevailing situation.
It is a situation which calls for concern, but at the same time, I'm sure the state government, the security agencies, with the absolute cooperation from the central government, are dealing with the situation seriously, sagaciously and judiciously, and very soon the situation will come back to normal.
पुलिस दल है, पैरामिलिट्री है, सेना है, इन सब लोगों का मनोबल बढ़ाने के साथ में ऐसे अलगाववादियों को समाप्त करने के लिए, विचारधारा को भी आगे नहीं बढ़ने के लिए सभी पार्टियों से संबंध प्रस्थापित किया जा रहा है और सभी से भी एक साथ काम करने की अपील की जा रही है।
In Jammu, both NPP and Congress staged protests against the state government over the worsening law and order situation. CPIM has also urged the centre and the Jammu and Kashmir government to call an all-party meeting.
The law and order has totally collapsed in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Dozens of people have been killed and hundreds have been injured, and government is nowhere to be seen.
The annual Amarnath pilgrimage has now been resumed after it was put on hold following the ongoing violence.
कि ऐसा है कि यात्रा जो है उसको हम रिज्यूम जो है करने का डिसीजन लिया है। एक कश्मीर पुलिस के कोऑर्डिनेशन से हमने ये फैसला लिया है और अभी जो स्टैंडर्ड यात्री हैं या व्हीकल्स हैं रामबन से लेकर कठुआ तक आज हम कोशिश करेंगे उनको क्लियर करने का।
Violence erupted in the state after 21-year-old poster boy of Hizbul Mujahideen Burhan Wani was killed in a police encounter on Friday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Pakistan has expressed shock over the killing of Burhan Wani in an encounter in its Kashmir last week. Condemning the attack of the Indian security forces, Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said that it was unlawful force and it was deplorable that excessive force was being used against civilians who were protesting against Wani's killing. Expressing concern over the detention of separatist leader, Sharif said that India should fulfill its human rights obligations as well as its commitments under the United Nations Security Council resolutions. Meanwhile, Pakistan People's Party chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has alleged that the Sharif-Modi friendship was causing irreparable damage to the Kashmir issue.
कश्मीर में जो भी हो रहा है वो भारत का अंदरूनी मामला है। पाकिस्तान को इसमें कहने का कोई अधिकार नहीं है। पाकिस्तान को अगर ह्यूमन राइट्स का चिंता है तो वो पाकिस्तान अधिकृत कश्मीर है, तो पाकिस्तान ने ऑक्युपाई करके रखा है। उस इलाकों में जो वहाँ के कश्मीरियों के साथ जो बदसलूकी किया जा रहा है पाकिस्तान के आर्मी के और पाकिस्तान के सुरक्षा बलों के वजह से जो नुकसान हो रहा है, वहाँ के ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन हो रहा है, उस पर पाकिस्तान को ध्यान करना चाहिए।
Absolutely condemnable statement of the Prime Minister of Pakistan supporting a declared terrorist and forgetting and omitting that its own country, Pakistan, is imploding at the seams. They don't know the spelling or the meaning of human rights. They don't know that they are known the world over, not only in India, as the world's largest exporter of terrorism.
Controversial Islamic preacher Zakir Naik, who was supposed to come back to Mumbai from Saudi Arabia on Monday morning, has cancelled his return and may issue a clarification through video conferencing. Naik has come under the scanner of the Indian government after reports emerged that 2 of the Dhaka terrorists were allegedly inspired by his speeches. On Sunday, Bangladesh banned Naik's controversial Peace TV, claiming that it incited the recent attack on the cafe in Dhaka. Meanwhile, leaders cutting across political lines back home have condemned Naik's Islamic preachings and demanded that his Peace TV network be dismantled.
Bangladesh had early on only said that some of the terrorists had been influenced or were under the influence of Zakir Naik and Peace TV. So if they've gone ahead and banned it, it obviously is based on the inputs that they had. With regard to whatever Government of India has to do when it comes to terrorism, tackling terrorism, already the agencies are working on it. And they will explore all angles, because anyone who's seen to be spreading the message of terrorism, who's also influencing terrorism or is justifying it, will also need to be investigated, because terrorism is a very serious threat against humanity.
आणि भूमिका स्वच्छ आणि स्पष्ट आहे। न्यायाची जी पट्टी तुम्ही इतर धर्मियांना लावताय, खास करून हिंदू धर्मियांना लावता आहात, हिंदू धर्मियांवरती जे काही संशय व्यक्त केले जात आहेत आणि त्यांच्या मागे जे काही चौकशीचं एक शुक्लकाष्ठ लावलं जातं, तसं आता तर उघड झालेलं आहे की समाजामध्ये अशांतता कोण पेरतं आहे आणि कोण फैलावत आहे। तर आम्हाला असं वाटतं की या सगळ्या गोष्टीमध्ये जातपात धर्म न पाहता जर का सर्व धर्म समभावाने काम होणार असेल,
हम तो यही बोले हैं, अगर देश के सुरक्षा में अगर भाई भाई की अगर कोई लड़ाई लड़ाने की बात करता है, देश की सुरक्षा में अगर कोई कोताही होती या कोई वैसा वातावरण बनाना चाहता है, तो हम उसके खिलाफ हैं।
On to more news, and monsoon has covered the entire country, with 89% of it receiving normal to excess rainfall. The Met Department says that around 26% of the country has recorded excessive rainfall, leading to floods in several places. 7 more people died in flood-related incidents in Madhya Pradesh, taking the toll now to 22. 4 people also died in Nandurbar district of North Maharashtra in the last 24 hours. Here's a report.
If June was a disappointment as far as rainfall is concerned, the month of July is more than making up for it. Excessive rainfall has triggered floods in several parts of the country, including in Maharashtra, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh.
पिछले 24 घंटे में गंगा जी में और यमुना जी में जो जलस्तर में काफ़ी तेज़ी से वृद्धि हुई है। यमुना जी में चूँकि एमपी एरिया में काफ़ी बारिश हुई है और बाढ़ की काफ़ी ख़राब स्थिति रही है, तो जो ट्रिब्यूटरीज हैं यमुना जी की, उनका पानी कल दोपहर से ही बढ़ना बहुत तेज़ी से आना शुरू हो गया और उसमें बहुत तेज़ी से इजाफा हुआ है। गंगा जी का पानी चूँकि नरोरा बराज और कानपुर बराज से काफ़ी मात्रा में पानी छोड़ा गया है।
In Madhya Pradesh, the death toll has risen to 22 after 7 more people were killed in flood-related incidents, while the number of those affected by floods in the state has crossed 1 lakh. Many rivers, including Narmada and Betia, are flowing above the danger mark, and floodwaters have entered many cities. Heavy to very heavy rains are likely to lash Indore, Ujjain, Hoshangabad and some parts of Bhopal. Essential services like water and power supply have been badly affected. Normal life in Maharashtra's Nashik district was thrown out of gear when 991 mm of rainfall fell in just 24 hours. This has triggered floods in the Godavari river and lifted the water level in Gangapur Dam and other reservoirs. The Met Department has predicted heavy showers in the next 24 hours. 4 persons were killed as a house collapsed in a village in Nandurbar. The situation is bad in Assam too. The Brahmaputra is flowing above the danger mark and has submerged 60% of the Pobitora Wildlife Sanctuary and damaged around 50% of its infrastructure. Several tributaries of the river have inundated over 100 villages. At least 6 districts of the state are badly hit by floods, affecting over 1.3 lakh people. Over 7,000 hectares of cropland is also badly damaged. Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal reviewed the situation and asked officials to gear up relief operations on war footing.
খালি বানপানীৰ উটিয়াহি ইয়াত আছোহি নিজৰ ঘৰে আহি থাকিবলগীয়া হৈছে আমি তাত ঘৰ দুৱাৰি সকলো বস্তু পানীতে পৰি আছে আমি মানুহগিগৰাকী আছো আৰু বামত আহি
The Met Department says a low pressure area is building up over Gujarat and is expected to bring some rainfall over the state in the coming days. A low pressure is also building up over Odisha. The Weather Department also warns of heavy rains in isolated places over Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura. Punjab, Bihar, Haryana, Delhi and UP too are likely to receive fairly widespread light to moderate rains in the coming days. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here are more updates from across the country in Nationwide. Former Terry chief R.K. Pachauri has been granted bail and allowed to travel abroad by a Delhi court after he appeared before it. He's been allowed to travel to Mexico for conferences spanning a month. Pachauri was directed to furnish an undertaking that he shall appear in court in person or through counsel and not dispute his identity at a later stage. The National Green Tribunal has given the Delhi government 2 weeks to clarify its stand on cancelling the registration of diesel cars that are 10 years old and petrol cars that are 15 years old. The tribunal asked the government how many diesel and petrol cars it had impounded in the last 1 year. It also asked why the environment compensation was not being levied on vehicles despite the NGT's orders. Former Telecom Minister Dayanidhi Maran, his brother Kalanidhi Maran and 4 others appeared before a special court on Monday in an Aircel Maxis deal-related money laundering case. The court had summoned all the 4 people and 2 firms as accused in the case. All the accused denied the charges. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan informed the State Assembly on Monday that 21 people have gone missing from the state. Vijayan was replying to a submission raised by opposition leader Ramesh Chenithala. He added that the government would take necessary steps with the support of the central agencies to tackle the issue. 21 people, including 5 married couples, went missing from the Middle East, where they had recently gone and are believed to have joined the Islamic State. International news now, and Theresa May is all set to become the UK's next Prime Minister after her only rival in the Conservative Party leadership race, Andrea Leadsom, pulled out of the contest on Monday. Leadsom said that the UK needs a strong and stable government and May is the most ideally placed candidate to implement Brexit. The leadership contest is being overseen by the 1922 Committee of Backbench Conservative MPs. Its chairman, Graham Brady, said that once May is formally confirmed as the new party leader, she will automatically replace David Cameron. May has been the Home Secretary since 2010 and has the support of more than 60% of the Conservative MPs. May has pledged to overhaul corporate governance rules, make big companies pay their tax, put ordinary working people first, and implement Brexit in totality.
The Conservative Party will put itself completely, absolutely, unequivocally at the service of ordinary working people. Brexit means Brexit, and we're going to make a success of it. There will be no attempts to remain inside the EU.
North Korea has threatened physical response to a move by the United States and South Korea to deploy the advanced THAAD missile defense system in the Korean peninsula. The US and South Korea say that the anti-missile system is to counter the threat from North Korea. China has also opposed the move, saying that the US and South Korea need to change their policies to resolve the issue.
Tensions continues to simmer in the Korean peninsula, with North Korea's military threatening to take physical action against the moves by the United States and South Korea to deploy an advanced missile defense system, which is aimed at countering the North's growing nuclear and ballistic missile capabilities.
세계 재패를 위한 미국의 침략 수단인 사드 체계가 남조선에 들고 앉을 위치와 장소가 확정되는 그 시각부터 그를 철저히 제압하기 위한 우리의 물리적 대응 조치가 실행될 것이다.
On Friday, US and South Korea had announced that the THAAD system, which is likely to become operational by the end of 2017, will focus solely on North Korean nuclear and missile threats and would not be directed towards any other nation. South Korea warned its neighbor not to take any rash and foolish action, for it would face strong military punishment otherwise.
우리 군의 한반도 사드 배치를 강도 높게 비난하면서 물리적 대응 조치, 무자비한 불벼락 등 노골적인 위협 운동을 통해 한반도 긴장 상황을 더욱 고조시키고 있습니다.
The move to deploy the THAAD system also drew sharp protests from China. China, North Korea's only ally in the region, said that THAAD exceeded the security needs of the Korean peninsula and even suggested there was a conspiracy behind the move.
在美国和韩国在韩国部署萨德反导系统，无助于半岛的和平与稳定，更无助于解决半岛核问题。特别是美国和韩国决定在韩国部署萨德反导系统，严重影响了。
The move to deploy the anti-missile system came a day after the US blacklisted North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for human rights abuses. In retaliation, Pyongyang tested a submarine-based ballistic missile, sparking another international condemnation. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Renewed clashes have broken out in South Sudan's capital, Juba, despite calls by the UN Security Council for rival factions to end the fighting. Hundreds of people, mostly soldiers, have been killed in the fighting between rival armed groups since Thursday, raising fears of a slide back into the all-out conflict in the 5-year-old country.
Renewed fighting has broken out in South Sudan between forces loyal to the president and vice president, despite calls by the UN Security Council for rival factions to urgently end the fighting that has engulfed the country in recent days. Expressing shock and outrage at the attacks on UN compounds, which killed 2 Chinese peacekeepers, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has demanded that civilian sites be protected. It also warned that attacks on UN premises and personnel may constitute war crimes.
中方对中国在南苏丹维和人员遇袭遭受严重伤亡深感震惊，对袭击事件表示强烈谴责，对牺牲人员表示深切哀悼。 对受伤人员和伤亡人员家属表示诚挚慰问。中国驻南苏丹使馆正在全力协调各方力量救治伤员。我们已经要求南苏丹政府彻查这起事件。
Hundreds of people, mostly soldiers, have been reportedly killed in the fighting between rival armed groups since Thursday, raising fears of a slide back into all-out conflict in the 5-year-old country. At least 272 people have died so far, according to a government source.
There is nothing to be done about it, but we have to continue finding a solution to it. I will still call my colleagues tomorrow so that we sit and finish what we did not complete before. This is an interruption to the good process which we have initiated. We want to continue this process of dialogue among ourselves, resolving issues so that the country comes out of the conflict.
South Sudan was founded with optimistic celebrations in 2011 after it gained independence from Sudan. The country descended into conflict in December 2013 after President Salva Kiir accused Riek Machar, his former deputy who he had sacked earlier that year, of plotting a coup. While a number of peace deals have been signed since then, so far none has led to lasting stability. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. Super typhoon Nepartak swept through China's Fujian province, causing widespread devastation across the coastal areas. 9 deaths have been reported and 12 people are missing. Power, water supply and telecommunication services resumed in some areas on Sunday, even as relief work is still underway. Nepartak, the first typhoon of the year, brought a heavy rain exceeding 200 millimeters within 3 hours, raising the water level of a local river by 7 to 8 meters. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's ruling coalition won a landslide victory in an election for the upper house of parliament. The voters are believed to have backed his economic policies. Exit polls suggest his coalition will win most of the 121 seats in contention, increasing its majority. Abe could hold a vote on constitutional change, easing constraints on military action. Three Indonesians working on a Malaysian-flagged fishing vessel were kidnapped from the Malaysian coast on Saturday night. Indonesia has urged the Malaysian government to take stern action against the kidnappers. This is the third kidnapping case involving Indonesians within a month. 7 others were taken hostage by armed militants near the area on the 20th of June. Last month, Indonesia, the Philippines and Malaysia carried out joint patrols to secure the region's busy waterways from sea hijackings. And finally, the big sports story. Euro Cup champions Portugal continued celebrating their first ever international trophy as they arrived in Lisbon following their dramatic 1-0 victory over France. Thousands of fans welcomed them at the airport, and the team also met the president, who honoured them with an award for distinguished acts of public service.
Thousands of fans greeted Euro Cup champions Portugal as they landed in Lisbon on Monday. The team's plane was welcomed by a stunning reception of red and green coloured water cannons, celebrating their victory on the big stage. The Portuguese team was greeted by rapturous applause from the 5,000-strong crowd as they lifted the country's first major trophy aloft. Elated fans chanted the name of goal hero Eder, whose extra-time screamer sealed the victory over France. The team also met the president, who honoured them with an award for distinguished acts of public service. The celebrations are continuing from Monday, when ecstatic fans cheered the team as they returned to their training base outside Paris. Lisbon's Praça de Comércio roared with delight as Portuguese fans celebrated their team's emphatic victory over France. Fans in central Lisbon lit flares and set off fireworks.
Claro, apesar de o Cristiano ter saído logo nos primeiros minutos, isso só mostra que nós somos uma família e que unidos nós conseguimos vencer e chegamos lá e somos campeões.
Apesar deles também terem jogado bem, acho que nós conseguimos criar algumas oportunidades e conseguimos concretizar uma, e é isso que interessa.
Portugal coach Fernando Santos praised Cristiano Ronaldo's motivational powers after the Euro Cup win.
Então, fez esforço fantástico ao longo de toda esta prova, muitas vezes um pouco criticado, mas porque é espírito de equipa fantástico, e hoje voltou a demonstrá-lo. 2 vezes tentou tudo o que era possível, humanamente possível, voltar ao jogo.
This was the greatest moment in Portugal's football history as they won their first European Championship after 35 games at the tournament. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.